Grossel is working in the HR, training, recruitment, and consulting since 2008 in Nepalese market. As they say, learning has no boundaries and we can learn from any corner of the world. I am thankful to Dr. Muthal for agreeing to sharing this knowledge today on managing changes, transition of HR role due to coronavirus. Our guest speaker, Dr. Sanjay Muthal, has over 33 years of experience in India and abroad, and has multifaceted background in the consulting, strategic HR, recruiting, learning and development, and organization development. Now, I will hand over this platform to our moderator, HR professional, Mr. Bhuvan Raj Joshi, and to Dr. Sanjay Muthal for an interesting and inspiring sessions sharing to all of us. Sanjay, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oja. Bhuvan, would you like to start? You're on mute.
Yeah, very good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Oja, for creating this kind of platform where at least actually we can share our thought and knowledge all together, to tackle this situation. This crisis situation is not really good, but again, actually, we have to get best out of worst, kind of like. So luckily we have Dr. Sanjay Muthal today to share his experience. And we will be asking a couple of our queries, like questions, and we will be opening forum as well, actually, for questions and answers. So I would request actually Mr. Muthal to speak something about 15 minutes actually from overall perspective, especially global economy and HR perspective and organizational scenarios in total. Just a brief kind of like. After that, actually, I will be asking a couple of questions. Actually.
Yes, sir.
म्युटमा राख्नु भन्नु त सबैलाई म्युटमा राख्नु भन्नु त
या सबैजना पार्टिसिपेन्टहरु प्लिज आफ्नो चाहिँ म्युटमा राख्दिनु न है अनि केही क्वेशन छ भने च्याटमा पठाउनु होला हामी डाक्टर मुथललाई एन्डमा सोध्छौं त्यो क्वेशन या प्लिज मिस्टर बुबन
to mute your system please. So floor is your Dr. Muthal, please share something about like COVID and global economy and kind of like organizational challenges and overall HR scenario, like from global Indian and Nepalese perspective as far
Thank you, Mohan, and thank you, Bhuvan. Namaste from India. My name is Dr. Sanjay Muthal, and I'm so delighted to come and spend next half an hour with you talking about COVID, our impact of COVID, and our preparedness around COVID, and what next lies for us in terms of our next steps for COVID. And so the way I have structured my thoughts today is I'm going to talk about a bit about the pandemic itself and what is the reason this pandemic started. Then I would like to go to global scenario, what has been the global response on the pandemic so far. Then I would flow down to look at what has our country, India, has done in terms of response to COVID and its sudden impact on our country. Post which I would then talk about what are the business impact of COVID, what are businesses' response on COVID. I will then flow down to HR, the most important element of the entire organization ecosystem, which is people. So what is people HR response to the current situation, and what can HR do as a way forward? That's how I've structured my talk. So what I'll do is maybe I'll speak for 15, 20 odd minutes and then leave the floor open for some Q&A, because more we engage with each other, the cross-learning will happen, and it will also give an opportunity to learn from our very, very learned friends from Nepal. At the outset, I'm extremely delighted. Once again, namaste to all HR friends in Nepal. I know and I keep hearing from Mohan, I have visited Nepal quite a few times, that HR in Nepal is doing stellar job. There is a huge recognition for HR in building up industry and services in Nepal. Nepal also is exporting a lot of manpower to global world. That's why the skill development HR is contributing in a big way. So at the outset, let me congratulate all the HR friends in Nepal for contributing their might in nation building and building the business ecosystem in Nepal. Let me start now my talk. I'm going to take some water. Ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at very unprecedented times, the times that we would have never imagined. But why these times have come? If you close your eyes and reflect for a minute, you realize that unprecedented times have been brought upon by us, by ourselves. You and me are responsible for this disaster. Believe you me, this is a man-made disaster. When the nature gives us in abundance, the planet gives us in abundance, we have abused nature. We have abused the planet. We have developed shortcuts of cutting the forest, increasing the carbon footprints, completely consuming the ozone layer from this beautiful planet. In the process of doing so, and in the process of various experimenting, various artificial sciences that we have developed, somewhere it started hurting us. We have not respected the animals, forget the human beings. We have not respected animals, birds, flora, fauna. And one of the impact of that has been this virus originated. There's a lot of theory around this, that this is a human-made virus and came out of a lab in China. But so be it. We for sure know that this has happened because fundamentally, we have been completely not taken cognizance of the gift that nature has given, gift that God has given us, which is abundance of life. In the race of global competition, in the race for winning, in the race for increasing my P&L and making profitability and increasing shareholder value, I forgot fundamental thing, which is human life. We have created deceit, we have created falsehood, we have created so many things which have no space in human existence. You know, I'm reminded of a historical or Puranas from India, a story of Bhasmasur. What was Bhasmasur? Bhasmasur was a demon who prayed to Lord Shiva very severe and intense prayers. Shiva appeared and asked him, what can I do for you? He said, give me a boon by which I put my hand on anybody's head. That person burns out. He becomes Bhasma. That's why he was called as Bhasmasur. Shiva said, Tathastu. Bhasmasur became absolutely arrogant and started chasing all the rishis, munis, and started burning them. He then started chasing the gods, Indra Deva, Varun Deva. Ultimately, he even chased Shiva. All the gods went to Narayan, Vishnu, and said, Vishnuji, please help us. Bhasmasur is now after all of us. And with Shiva's boon, if he touches me or he puts his hand on my head, we are going to be burnt. Vishnuji then took Rupa, take roop of a Brahmin priest and appeared in front of Bhasmasur and said, "Hey, Bhasmasur, what are you so much happy about?" He said, "I have a boon and I'm chasing Lord Shiva because I'm going to burn himself by putting my hand on my head." So Vishnu said, in the Brahman group said, "Oh, you're doing that, but how do you know it is working? Can you test it?" And Bhasmasur put his own hand on his head, and the story is that he got completely burnt and he became Bhasma. Ecology, planet has done same thing to us today. They gave us so many boons. They gave us beautiful life. They gave us a beautiful world to live in. And we as human race did not respect it. We as a human race chased wrong dreams, consumed nature's resources. Like they say, "Sau sonar ki ek lohar ki." Now nature has told you, is that so? I will give you one jhatka and you will know what my powers are. Powers of universe have now put us in a control mode. Therefore, it's time to reflect. It's time to learn. It's time to unlearn and relearn, my friends. That's my starting point that I want to submit for your kind consideration. This pandemic, I'm coming to pandemic, started on, the first death was reported on 17th November in Wuhan in China. 17th November. As late as December, US and China even signed free trade agreement.
Dr. Muthal.
There was no reflection on the pandemic that was going to hit the world. There was absolutely no preparedness or a thought that was given to what is coming our way. Because we always thought it is somewhere else, it's not going to come to my home, I am safe. Similar responses from some of the major powers, and I want to name few: Italy, Spain, Germany, completely gave us the horror side of the pandemic. We got millions of people who got infected, 100,000 odd in each of these countries unfortunately died. The world superpower called USA even wasn't prepared. And today they are leading the list of the unfortunate human loss. World wasn't really prepared for this, despite we getting enough and more notices. I am now coming to India. Fortunately for India, and with the vision that our Prime Minister has, we pretty well acted fast. We first thing did was enforce lockdown. We stopped the international flights quite early, and the first period of lockdown is now extended for another period of 3 weeks. We are working on containment. We know we are a very large, vast country, 1.3 billion population. A lot of people live in a very small spaces. The contagious opportunity is severe, but government has been very effective and people have really cooperated well so far to contain this pandemic. I also must congratulate government of Nepal and people of Nepal. You have managed it very well. I was talking to Bhuvan yesterday and I'm told there are only 11 odd cases in Nepal, which is a fabulous thing. Even your government has done lockdown, only essential services are on. I think it's a fair and very quick response that both of our governments have done, and we must be thankful for that. Let me come down to business impact. What are the businesses done? Before I go there, India, I was just reflecting on what has been the impact so far, and we must look at the very grave side of the business impact or economic impact. We lost over to 10 crore of market cap till last week before last was wiped out. It has started affecting all major cash flows. Our GDP growth estimates have been completely coming down. It is now people are talking about 1.2%. We were at 6.5. To Barclays yesterday saying it is at 0%. So it's a reality of a very scary times ahead in terms of economics. Business-wise, what have we done? Frankly, all the businesses were caught napping with their pants down virtually. We were not prepared for that. We, as in global response on the business was completely, because I think somewhere we were thinking that it's not going to affect me, it's not going to my country, it's somewhere else. And therefore, I am pretty much, there was no proactive thinking. There was no BCP, business continuity plans put in place before lockdown came in force. As usual, we were in the reactive mode and not proactive mode. We kind of fall prey to situation of a pandemic, and then we started resorting to taking few actions. Work from home became imminent. Now, many of the organizations did not have a technological capability to support work from home. And therefore, automatically, there is an impact on their businesses. Few of the great organizations had that ecosystem and IT infrastructure and tech support, for which organizations started working from home. But look at this. What are people doing? What are businesses doing? Everywhere else, everywhere these days, I hear manpower reduction. My question to all of them is, why manpower reduction? First thing. Same CEOs, same managing directors, 2 months back, were going to the podiums of the national conferences and saying, people are my biggest assets. And today they are saying that, listen, among the various things or among the first few things that I want to do is let me reduce the cost. Marriott, Macy's, GE announced huge layoffs. In India, major travel operators, Indigo announced pay cuts. Go Air got rid of their all expat pilots. India tourism market, which is over 28 billion internationally and 2 lakh crore in domestic, is bearing a huge impact. 70% they estimate people will lose job in tourism sector. And I'm sure Nepal has a huge travel and tourism sector. So it's a scary scenario up there in this particular sector. There is a slowdown, obviously, in hiring going to be there. And one sees that even the scheduled recruitments are not happening. Look at the new talent from business schools. Summer internship projects have been either postponed, offers given are being withheld. All this is a response because we were unprepared, and B, the philosophy of the people is at the biggest test in the human mankind. Because if organizations truly believe, and they keep saying that people are my most important asset, where is that philosophy today? And I'm not giving any due consideration to the fact that business have to survive. Yes, there are ways and means. Can we look at that as the last resort and do something else before we go there? Is something that I want to leave for thinking on this table. What has been HR response? Very, very strange and beautiful response HR gave. As usual, we were also caught napping. We were also caught being reactive. And we were also caught, and this has been for some of us, of course, I'm not generalizing this, but HR as a function in many of the organization continues to be subservient to the business. And therefore, it only gets a responsibility of implementing, and not contributing to the think tank. I hope I'm making my point very clear. The board decides, the leadership decides, and HR executes. It's a very sad state, because if people are my biggest competitive advantage, if people are my assets, and people who manage people are HR, then why they can't be in the core group of deciding what to do in the organization for future, what to do in the organization. All the time in the past, we took a kind of a subservient role to business, and therefore we are doubly challenged in this situation. Our response, therefore, is only execute. Ladies and gentlemen, our function is called as human resources. The important part of this function is human. Human is an emotion. Human is flesh and body with emotions. And if those emotions are not nurtured and harnessed well, we have a problem managing our organization. As Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev says, human is not a resource, it is infinite possibility. Human is infinite possibility, because moment you call it resource, then resource becomes an item on the pie chart of the cost. Like you have energy resource, like you have raw material resource, like you have financial resource put on a pie chart of the organization, so is human resource as a cost put on a pie chart of the organization. And the whole ethos, whole philosophy, whole thinking behind it as a possibility, infinite possibility, disappears, because you are boxing that possibility into a resource and probably making it as a cost center. We therefore need to reflect on this very, very seriously. My question is, why can't we be on the forefront of the business issues with people agenda? If we are the champion for people, which we take pride in, and I'm glad we are champion for people. You know, when healthcare issues arose, when pandemic came, who were at the forefront of resolving, attending, dealing with that? With tremendous respect to this fraternity, it was a medical fraternity which came ahead, risking their lives and curing people. And we people champion, where are we? Are we sitting at home and dealing with outcomes? Or are we dealing to cure this mindset on people? Are we going and working on the leadership mindset that, listen, sir, before you do anything disastrous like asking people to go, can we look at some of the other things? Can we look at taking pay cuts, for example? Why can't top management why can't we devise a structure proactively by saying that top management will take 50% pay cut. Make an example. Middle management will take 20% pay cut. Operating people will take 10% pay cut. Will it not give us some additional cash flow? Certainly it will give us. Can we say that once normalcy returns, and this came around March, we have a projected budget for increments, projected budget on appraisals. Can we freeze that and redeploy those resources? Can we communicate with people and tell them, listen, when normalcy restores, instead of 8 hours, I want you to work 12 hours because these are unprecedented time. I don't want to exploit you. But as they say, jaan hai to jahan hai. Can I will retain your job, but come, hold my hand, make that extra effort. So ensuring that we are together able to contribute and make our enterprise more viable, more healthier. Many places this will work, some places it may not work. That may be reality. But can we as HR professional, HR fraternity, have that gumption to stand up against this thought process of asking people to go and say that explore everything else. I will do it. I am people's champion. Because don't forget, one of the important role HR leader has in organization, apart from being strategic, business oriented and all that, is people advocacy, is people championing. If you don't raise your voice on behalf of people on the leadership table, who else will do? And that can only happen, as I said earlier, if you are not subservient, if you have gumption, if you are committed to the cause of people and ensuring the business continuity plan. Everybody is engaging in BCP. BCP, I am attending lots of webinars talking about BCP. All of you know, business continuity plan. Now this disaster has come, businesses cannot be stopped, there are somewhere continuous processes, there are banking, there are whatever. Therefore, we must have BCP, beautiful thought. And lots of companies are doing superb job. Asking people to...
Sanjay, you have a 10-minute only.
Oh, sorry. Thanks, Mohan.
Yeah.
My proposition is, when BCP is discussed, why can't HR stand and say, I want to discuss PCP, People Continuity Plan? Why can't I say this? Can we prepare a blueprint on PCP, which will talk about what are the cost centers that I can attack first? As I said, one is the salary, second is the benefits, future bonuses, delaying recruitments, people who are already out of organization not filling up their positions. There can be many more things. Can we create a kind of a blueprint? And creating that blueprint is going to require a character of an HR leader. And the character doesn't happen in one day. You have to build character. Character is built by the values and the behavior that you display in organization. And if that is not forte to you, people won't believe you. And therefore it takes years to build that. And I'm sure all of us are extremely high on our own character and our own value system. But our problem is, are you organizationally strong on character and value system? Is your organization, and I want to name few organizations in India like Tata's, is the organization like Mahindra and Mahindra, Aditya Birla Group, where the leaders are walking the talk. They are assuring people directly, and when they assure people, people believe them. Or are you, when your CEO does town hall with your people, What do people say after the town hall is over? Do they say this man is fooling, or do they say this is a fantastic person? I truly believe what he says. That's the character that organization leaders and specifically HR leaders need to have. And I'm sure many of the organizations, they do have this. Since Mohan has allowed me, I want to spend 5 minutes on what we think now in this situation, in this unprecedented time that I talked about, we together can do. Specifically, what HR can do. For me, today, HR will be at the crossroad. Today, or even when the lockout is lifted and we start, we will be at the crossroad of emotions versus business continuity. We will be at the crossroad of people versus business reality. My request to all HR colleagues is to be on people's side, because on business side there will be lots of application of mind. There are lots of experts who will do that, but you need to be on people's side.
Sanjay,
As I said, all the
Sanjay,
things that one can do.
Sanjay,
Sorry?
sorry for interrupt. So
Yeah.
after this 40 minutes,
Yeah.
we'll hold 1 minute only. Then we'll create new ID and we'll continue the session next 30 minutes.
All right.
Okay.
I'm
Continue,
okay.
please.
I'm okay with that.
Continue, please.
So as I said, what HR can do is, first is to review all costs. Look at whether work from home is a better option even after the normalcy comes. Is that going to give you more rationalization of cost? Is that going to save you a lot of real estate cost? Is that going to save you infrastructure cost, provided your business continuity is not impacted? As I said, can we create a policy on looking at pay cuts instead of uh, giving people termination? Can we prioritize? Can we prioritize hiring? Can we review critical positions in the organization? Can we, for future, look at gig kind of engagement for certain roles which are vacant, so that they don't ask, add fixed cost to your PNL or payroll? Are some of the thinking that we need to start generating. We, me, you, HR bodies, HR associations have to start now thinking in terms of what next. Can we seriously thinking on upskilling our people? Can we seriously spilling off job enrichments? Can 2 jobs be done by 1 person? Are some of the possibilities that we have to explore and exploit as an HR leader. I'm 100% sure that we are going to look at good times again, because history has been proof of what mankind can do. I recently also referred yesterday to Economic Times survey, where they talked about the biggest concern today is drop in productivity due to work from home. Therefore, after the normalcy, HR has to now recalibrate priorities, focus towards managing the whole workforce. We'll have to look at digitization, deploy virtual methods of recruitment, and so on and so forth. There is also a psychological impact of COVID on people. Are we doing enough for the well-being? And I think now, and even when normalcy is restored, employee health should come as the top priority among the corporation. And again, HR will have to play a very important role. You know, one very, very realistic rap we have got on the knuckle from this pandemic to all the global worlds of all the global superpowers is a reality. Why is the defense budget more than the healthcare budget? I'm ending now.
Yeah, truly a great glimpse of from the
Next 2 minutes, I'll end.
Okay,
Yeah,
So
just
as I said,
okay.
human life will bounce back because, as they say, when the tide is high, the fishes eat the ant. When the tide goes low, the ants eat the fishes. I'm sure our time will come, but I hope we learnt our lessons. For HR, my fundamental belief is we will, of course, tide over this. We will, of course, face this adversity. But for future, can we build trust in organization? Can we not be as important thought in an organization as any other business function is? Can we not contribute to business strategy through people strategy? Can we influence the leadership to see human possibility? You know, as Thomas Jefferson said, I'm more tempted by the dreams of the future than by the history of the past. Past has taught us many lessons, but future seems will be more exciting. Hopefully, after we've gone out of this virus, for all the human beings, and especially people in HR, this is the time to apply Control, Alt, and Delete button, and hopefully, post-COVID, come back with the new version of yourself, new version of iOS, which will be much better, which will be more highly people oriented, which will be more trustworthy, which will be more business contributing, which will be most respected in the sphere of businesses. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed talking to you. Namaste. Open for questions and answers.
Yeah, great, Dr. Muthal. Great perspective actually to to know about actually great sharing. Thank you so much for that. To tell you about the current scenario, for example, worldwide and from Nepalese perspective, if you ask me honestly, because we are facing on day to day, pandemic is one side, but another, pandemic usually from mental level, the stress, level actually people are facing through day by day, the fear of layoff, fear of pay cut, fear of losing employment, and sitting idle, for example, in home actually with no surety of what will happen tomorrow, for example, what will be global economy actually, impacting, for example, national, business scenarios. And for example, if you ask me, Nepal, uh, because we are not, as I said, yesterday also, we are not industrialized kind of we are more into commerce, we are more into trade, we are more into service. So, but definitely, actually, we are also badly impacted with all these, for example, scenarios, global lockdown kind of So, saying actually, empathy, care, actually, people orientation, people approach. Actually, if you ask me from HR perspective, I don't see any HR actually, without having empathy perspective in head and succeeding in HR. That is almost close to impossible because we being HR people, we need to understand even sympathy, empathy, care, so that is there. But at the same time, HR as business partner, we have to see things from business perspective. And now HR people, especially everywhere in the country, are getting tremendous pressure from entrepreneur owners actually, to manage payroll cost, to go for layoffs actually wherever required, especially where actually you have immense sentiment at one side, and there is another actually tremendous pressure actually, from business level or organizational level, for pay cut. Definitely, actually, company also run by business. If there is no earning and only expenditures are there, and exploring, for example, other alternatives than thinking of layoff, that can be one idea. But exploring opportunities in this pandemic is also not that, having clear vision, for example, there is no open sky, especially in this situation. So what you say actually, in this situation, especially for HR to manage, because I think HR people are in tremendous pressure now, not because actually they think actually they will be losing job for themselves, maybe actually they are smart people, they can manage somehow actually, because it's happening globally, so they can also survive. But the matter is actually, they are people person, and at the same time actually they think about organizational growth, organizational sustainability. But balancing both together with all extreme, for example, in one side actually too much of stress and too much of pressure from employee level, and from one side actually from business owners or organizational leaders, they all time actually think about payroll costs, this and that. So how to balance these two, and what can be the best strategy for HR leader to step in?
As I said, there are no shortcuts, Bhuvan. We, you have to have a gumption of standing up first, engaging conversation with your MD and CEO. Can you have that gumption? Can you have that ability to do that? My suspicion is many of us end up only implementing because some of us have challenges even in understanding the P&L of the organization. We have challenges in understanding the balance sheet of the organization. We have challenges in understanding the business drivers of the organization. Now, if that be so, then we are not able to give even suggestions to top management by saying that, listen, before you start people lay off, there is a way that we can delay this by 3 months. And is this 3 months, we can do 1, 2, 3. And as I said, either reducing salary, either, there are various means that I talked about. But for which, now this cannot happen overnight. If you have been subservient in the organization till yesterday, today you can't stand up against this onslaught. Then you will be flown. And that might happen to few of us. And again, I'm saying with due respect, some businesses, maybe it is imperative that we have to reduce people. But have we reached that stage is something that HR leader has to take a pause, reflect, take employer advocacy to the leadership table and say that, what will happen is you will reduce people now. When things become normal, you will go back to the same people because you have the same talent pool in the country or wherever, region. What is that talent pool going to respond to you that time? He's going to tell you, listen, when I had a need, you sacked me. Today you have a need. I'm not available. I'm going to an organization in the same situation which responded by retaining its people, which responded by giving continuity of employment by various means. It's important for people to retain their jobs. It's very important.
Actually, that is the reason. That is the reason. I guess actually, along with myself, actually, maybe my colleague also to agree with. Most of the HR people, they are facing this kind of tremendous challenges. For example, or stress or whatever type pressure you say. It's not because actually there is someone actually putting gun in your head. It's because actually we see things from that perspective. What exactly you have said now. Now the situation is not that normal, and we are asking people for layoff or pay cut, this and that. But let's say actually after 2 months, for example, situation becomes normal, and we approach them again to come back and work with us. Then actually, how we will be attracting those people, our talent pool. Actually, it's not that easy to create the pool again. So that is the main pressure. Actually, I think most of the HR professionals are facing nowadays. Actually, one side actually, most of the companies, especially if you see from CFO kind of perspective. Where people see from figures, numbers, and plus and minus, and one side actually HR perspective actually where we see things from long-term perspective and capitalizing human resource actually at this bad time actually where you can because rest of the times we are celebrating birthdays, for example, we are sending people to Singapore, we are sending people to Switzerland for honeymoon kind of but now at this pandemic situation where people need to have a basic requirement of groceries, and we are asking people for pay cut and layoff as well, especially for those companies who can still afford for 2-3 more months, right? and financial perspective, they are more into calculating the numbers and saving the total cost from ROI perspective. So balancing all these things together, like, from HR perspective, I think is a major challenge for all the
Bhuvan sir, kindly raise the question very short, sir, because we have very limited time, sir.
Okay.
Just raise the questions in short, please.
Okay. So I have too many questions listed, but I would love to go for the questions actually raised by this forum here. Dr. Muthal, if you can see the questions in our chat box.
Okay. Sajina says, how do you ensure health and safety of employees, especially the frontline employees who are working from office? We will have to follow, Sajina, the guidelines given by WHO on social distancing, on ensuring that we have adequately protected them by giving them N95 mask, by ensuring that if some of them are continuously exposed, proactively testing them on through COVID kit, and lots of that has already started. We now have an app in India called Arogya Setu. Anybody can go and do a proactive testing for themselves. All this will have to be implemented. Singapore today is allowing people to go out, although officially offices are closed, but public transport is open. They are ensuring that social distancing is followed. They are ensuring all the good practices, good health practices prescribed are followed. They are ensuring that in supermarket, there are restricted number of people at a given time in. Only when they exit, the next lot goes. We'll have to do similar things for our people in organization. Thank you.
So we can see more questions, like, in the chat.
I can see Divya Singh saying, sir, for manufacturing plant like ours, working for home in plant-based roles is not possible. How to address this? Now, this is where business continuity will come in, Divya. You will have to plan, like even in India, we have continuous process plants, pharmaceutical, API plants, where if you close the plant, it puts more cost and also hazard to the existence of people. So again here, the PPP has been deployed, which is ensuring that you have minimal staff, ensuring that if you have IT technology, support that, ensuring that all the workers who are exposed are not, for example, many of these companies where essential services plants like you are talking about are there, they have created stay in the workplace by creating very healthy, hygienic workplaces, converting their guest houses into workplaces in the premises. So what have they avoided? They avoided entire travel from person from work to home and back. Some thinking on this will have to be done, but there are good examples that people are doing, especially in India, like creating home at the workplace, ensuring healthy food is given, ensuring minimal staff is deployed with social distancing, with proper due precautions, and also ensuring that all the plants get fumigated as per GMP every morning and at the end of every shift. Thank you.
Yeah, more questions on chat box if you see, Dr. Muthal.
Yeah. How can we optimize work from home? Aruna Chamling is saying, how can we optimize work from home plan and make sure that it's been as effective as before? Also, how HR can contribute to make such plan efficient? Aruna, it is imperative now. In fact, I personally, in good old days, used to believe that when people of services sector, IT, ITES, and some of the forward-looking organizations were allowing work from home, I used to think, how can people work from home? They may be wasting their time, they may be fooling the system, but not so. Today, personally, I am more busy in home than in office. I'm spending 10 to 12 hours on Zoom chat and Google Hangout and whatever you house party than I was doing in office. And it has given us opportunity. The meetings on Google Hangout or Zoom are more intense, more direct, and therefore they are more meaningful and are more productive. Secondly, like an organizational context where somebody comes to your room and disturbs you, that doesn't happen. Thirdly, typically in organization, after half an hour, there is a break and you are going around, whiling away doesn't happen. Plus, you are able to prioritize what is important for you, which also includes helping household, doing, daily chores at home. Now, this is a new opportunity. How can we convert this into reality is left to individual and is left to organization. How HR can help? We need a first IT infrastructure. Because if IT infrastructure is not there, by which you are able to kind of integrate everybody's efforts into one platform, then you may have a challenge. So we'll have to create IT infrastructure. Now, this is not an easy task. It requires investment. Maybe organization is saying this is not the time to invest, but we will have to look at that. Secondly, we'll have to work on the mindset of the leadership that this is the only imperative in the given situation, and for future readiness, this is an extremely important step that we may have to have. God forbid any disaster in future. So we'll have to play a role at both, at hard side, which is your IT infrastructure, and on the soft side, which is working on the leadership mindset. Thank you.
Yeah, there is one question from Tasri Rana. She is asking, earlier you spoke of creating a blueprint to map the BCP and PCP.
Yeah. So PCP, when I refer to, is People Continuity Plan. What is BCP? Business Continuity Plan. So how do you do business continuity plan? You ensure that there is a work continuously happening. You ensure that there are cash flows. You ensure that bare minimum services are available. You ensure that bare minimum staff is available at workplace. Third, you ensure that the services provided by the organization to people or to your customers are maintained. When I refer to PCP, I'm submitting to you that can we do same thing? Can we say that how can I look at continuing the people that I have? Can we look at removing people as last resort? Can we look at payroll cost and try and rationalize? Can I talk to my people and say that, listen, for next 6 months, I will only give you your cash part of the CTC. I will not be able to pay you benefits. Can I tell them that this is a challenging time? Can you look at voluntary pay cut? And I assure you there will be no jobs. All I'm saying is apply your mind like a business continuity plan with what is the business continuity plan's one objective? Ensuring that the business is continued. In PCP, I'm submitting to this August gathering. Can you apply your mind and saying that people are continued and do your strategies around that? That's what I meant by PCP. You will get record version. Okay.
Yeah, another question, if we see current scenario, how to ensure the cash flow from Mr. Ravi Thakur?
Well, this is a big challenge because again, it will depend on the business model of your organization. But because, if you're not selling anything, you're not earning any revenues. And even in some cases, your what is that called as receivables may be mounting. So cash flow is going to be a big challenge because if you had invested in some public companies or public instruments, then your investments have got some rewards. But if that investment was in inflationary kind of instruments, like mutual funds and so on and so forth, you might have lost money on that. Now, there is no solution to this, Ravi, offhand, because this will continue, this will be very specific to that organization and your P&L. For example, if you are an ITS company, 70% of your cost is people cost, because there is no raw material. Your raw material is your people. Now, they have a serious challenge on people cost and in maintaining the cash flows. But if you are a manufacturing company, where typically your people cost is between 7 to 10% or 6 to 10%, then you still have a time to breathe a little bit and reflect on your cash flow and say that I can hold my people for next 3 months or 6 months. So it will be, there is no.
अच्छा जैसे 5 बजे भी करूँगा यही आएगा सेम सिस्टम. ये बोल तो.
Yeah, I'm done. Please ask.
So I think actually we have covered all the questions. If you have any more, actually please raise, guys. There is one question which Kirti is asking, the same one with Dipya, and which she could not hear actually because of some technical issues.
Bhuvan sir, sorry for interrupting. We will be providing the recorded version of this session. So you can hear it again. There is one more question from Huawei Y92019. If you can see the question, it's like, since employees are working from home, what all HR can do to engage its employee who are WFH to stay connected?
This is a beautiful question. We can do many things. I don't know the gentleman's name or lady's name. We can do many things. First, or what you used to do office, do same thing. A, connect with people. Can we create groups and teams where HR leader and the business leader at an appointed time talks to them every day and gives them update. The update will be on the business, update would be on the current situation in the market, and the third most important thing is, can we help them improve their morale? Can we have a conversation around that? Now, many good organizations have divided their times in India. So every 11 a.m. in the morning, CEO speaks through town hall. At 12 o'clock, HR leader speaks again through town hall. At 3 o'clock, they are doing yoga and health classes, online classes. And some 1 to 3 is given for employees to spend time on their with family, help cooking, clean the utensils and so on and so forth. And 4 to 5 is e-learning sessions, skill building sessions, upskilling sessions. So there's something huge opportunity we have now to reach out to people, to talk to them globally, just through technology. So we can do many more things, but most important thing is just keep them binding together and tell them that the dark clouds will disappear and surely sunny days will come. That's the message that you should give. Thank you.
So
Yes,
I
Bhuvan.
cannot see any further questions here in our forum. So
Thank you.
Dr. Muthal, actually, if you want to share, for example, general scenario, especially in India, with regards to possibility of unemployment, considering actually, most of the companies will get impacted, maybe for a one year long period.
No, I'll just like to sum up on a positive note. As I said, the clouds will disappear, but there is a huge learning for us. And the problem with human race is that moment the problem gets over, we come back to our own nature, and our own nature has been the most dysfunctional so far. What is our nature? In competition, we get into unfair practices. Nations get into unfair practices. Industries get into unfair practices. People get into unfair practices. As a neighbors, we get into unfair practices. As human race, we have greed. We create shortcuts. This pandemic has told us that, listen, guys, there are no shortcuts in life. Respect everything around you. Respect nature. It gives you abundance. and believe in that superpower, this is virtually going to be the second life for all of us. And as I said, can we apply our Control Alt button, delete what we were doing dysfunctional, retain what was positive, and create a new version which creates positivity around, and we become, as the Puranas say, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, we become one global family. Thank you very much. Enjoyed talking to you.
Great.
So-
Great. Thank you so much. So, session with regards to question and answer is almost done. Mohan sir, please conclude the session.
Yeah, thank you. So we have 2-3 minutes only. So thank you, Sanjay. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and your contribution for the Nepalese HR professionals. Thank you, Bhuvan sir, senior HR professional in Nepal. So thanks for the moderator the session.
Mohan, I'm
Thank you.
so much looking forward to my next visit to Nepal. I love that country. I love the people. They are so warm, friendly, and so many friends in Nepal. So look forward to visiting when normalcy happens.
Definitely, sir. I'll manage and I'll invite you. I'll invite you definitely very shortly. I'll invite you, and thanks all the participants. Thank you so much, and thank you, Sanjay, once again. Stay safe. Thank you so much. Have a good time
Thank you
ahead
all.
to all of
Thank
you.
you all the
Thank you
Nepal
so
friends.
much.
Namaste.
Thank
Stay safe, and I'm sure we will fight this and win. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.